What's up, Taiwan? I'm Yvonne with news from here in Taiwan and around the world. Taiwanese filmmaker Ang Lee will receive the Directors Guild of America's Lifetime Achievement Award. On its website, the Guild hails Lee as a master filmmaker in a post announcing him as the winner of its highest award. The ceremony will take place on February 8th. Lee has directed many acclaimed movies, including Brokeback Mountain, Life of Pi, and Lust Caution, and has twice won the Oscar for Best Director. He was born in Pingtung County in southern Taiwan and now lives in the United States. A heritage building in the historic town of Lukang has partially collapsed after years of alleged neglect. Local officials say it wasn't them who let a building fall into disrepair and are instead blaming the central government. John Van Trieste reports.
Shi Juyao's proud family legacy is in ruins. Heavy rains and a powerful earthquake in April have proven too much for the ancestral home in the historic port town of Lukang, a home built somewhere between 1796 and 1820. Though the structure isn't totally flattened, beams have recently given way, leaving the ground covered in rubble. It's a low point for a family that can trace its lineage back to wealthy traders from the 18th and 19th centuries, when this was one of Taiwan's biggest commercial hubs. Shi is resigned to the destruction.
可惜是可惜啊，反正东西就是会坏啊，尽量保持它的原状啊，就是尽人事啊。
But not everyone feels enough was done, especially by the local culture bureau. The building was on the local heritage list since 2009, noted for its architecture. Some preservationists say that during this time, the building was neglected.
15年都没有动，没有动。你看，以前都很完整的这些雕花，到现在都掉了，屋顶也垮了，梁柱也断了啊。所以说，再不整修的话，哪有一天可能就是像这一堆土一样，整个都变成一个灰灰。
Local officials reject this claim that they let the building fall apart. The county's Cultural Affairs Bureau says it started planning to fix it up in 2019, and that as recently as April, it applied for funding from the central government. But that funding never came through. Now the Bureau says it's assessing whether the building needs emergency stabilization and repairs, and it will try to get funding from the central government to restore the building fully.
损害状况是不是有更加严重的一个状况哈？我们在请专业学者去判断哈。那如果说有需要做紧急必要的一个加固修缮的话哈，那我们会紧速来处理这样子。
In a town known for pride in its past, the heavy damage to the old Shi family home slipped through the cracks. Now it's a matter of seeing how much of this 200-year-old heritage building can be salvaged. Klein Wang and John Van Trieste for TaiwanPlus.
Civic groups in New Taipei are urging the government to grant official cultural heritage status for waterways now mostly buried underneath the city. They say the system of canals that date back nearly 3 centuries hold historic and cultural significance for the country's capital region. Wesley Lewis reports.
New Taipei residents are fighting to protect one of the few remaining visible and exposed sites of the city's bygone irrigation and canal system, also known as Liuguanzun. They want the municipal government to grant cultural heritage status. A rally held today, organized by local civic groups, falls on the same day as a scheduled government inspection of the site to determine cultural landscape status, which is given to historically significant man-made environments. Without this government-appointed status, it leaves the remainder of Liuguanzun and some of its surrounding historic buildings and houses vulnerable to demolition, something that demonstrators here say would jeopardize the neighborhood's unique character.
这里是我们的家，这里是我们的记忆，这里是我的故乡。但一旦这里全部拆毁了，我们会认不得这里是我们的故乡，甚至我们会对这里完全没有任何的感情跟印象。
Liuguanzun once boasted a vast network of crisscrossing transportation canals and irrigation ditches. They were mostly built in the mid-18th century during Qing rule in Taiwan. But that changed in the 20th century, especially in the 1970s, when many of these canals and ditches were filled in for roads. Demonstrators want the city government to provide concrete protections for Liuguanzun. Their ultimate goal is to ensure modernization doesn't just steamroll over the city's unique history and cultural heritage. Kama Xu and Wesley Lewis in New Taipei for TaiwanPlus.
The past academic year saw a marked increase in foreign students at Taiwanese schools over the year before. Taiwan's colleges and universities saw a total of over 110,000 foreign students in the 2023 to 2024 school year, according to the Education Ministry. That's 9% more than the previous year. The largest group was from Vietnam, with over 27,000 students, followed by Indonesia and Malaysia. The numbers of Japanese and South Korean students both increased, with many coming to study Mandarin. Several waves of immigrants from China have settled in Peru over the centuries, giving rise to a unique blend of cultures and one of South America's largest Asian communities. Reese Ayers went to Peru to meet the Tusán and discover how recent economic developments are impacting their community.
Design professor Eduardo Tung has long reflected on his identity. He's part of what's known here as the Tusán community, native-born Peruvians descended from Chinese immigrants. Like many Tusán, Tung has faced discrimination and struggles to fit in at home and abroad.
Entonces siempre he tenido esos cuestionamientos, ¿no? De quién soy yo, ¿no? Porque cuando la gente me ve me dice chino, pero cuando yo estoy fuera del Perú, la gente me dice que yo soy peruano, me dice no, tú no eres peruano, tú eres chino, ¿no?
But Tung learned to embrace his duality and now sits as a director of the Chinese-Peruvian Association, Peru's largest association uniting Tusán businesses and people. The Tusán, who get their name from a Chinese word meaning local born, are one of the largest Asian communities in South America, and over generations have left a distinct mark on Peruvian society.
This is Barrio Chino, the heart of Lima's Tusán community. With almost 2 centuries of history, it's long been a hub for Chinese-Peruvian culture.
It's a community that continues to evolve as a new wave of Chinese immigrants enters Peru, along with the massive investment that China is pouring into the country, with projects like this megaport just north of Lima, which can handle some of the largest containers and cuts shipping times between Latin America and Asia. It's all part of China's so-called Belt and Road project to facilitate trade between China and the rest of the world. For traditional Chinese medicine doctor Chan Tak Luen, who moved here in the 1980s seeking economic opportunities, hopes are high that the deepening relationship between his birth country and his adopted one will be beneficial.
我相信都会带来好的，因为我们的中国的东西在秘鲁都有100多年的历史，很多秘鲁人都认识中国的东西。
And there's also an audible sign here of the evolving relationship between the Tusán and the new wave of Chinese immigrants. John Choi, who works as a spiritual healer in Lima's Chinatown, says he's noticed a recent shift within the community.
Antes no era muy comercial el chino mandarín, porque aquí la comunidad en el Perú, la gran mayoría, son de lengua cantonesa. Y con el tiempo ya se ha ido expandiendo el dialecto mandarín, el básico, el oficial, el más diplomático.
And they make it red because, red is good luck.
Community leaders like Tung say it's important to embrace change while maintaining the values of their complex heritage, encouraging Peru's Tusán population to grow and adapt and roll with the ever-changing geopolitical and domestic landscapes. Scott Huang, Harel Hughes and Reese Ayers in Peru for TaiwanPlus.
Thank you for watching What's Up Taiwan. You can visit the TaiwanPlus website or follow our social media for more stories from Taiwan and around the world. Now, before we go, come with us to Kisama village in northeast India, where members of the Naga ethnic group are celebrating the annual Hornbill Festival. I'm Yvonne Yang, take care, and I'll see you next time.